Believe it or not, there was once a time where guys were basically lined up to try and play alongside LeBron James. So why is it that now that nobody wants to go to Los Angeles to play with LeBron? Out of the big three, MJ, Bron, and Kobe, LeBron is the only player out of that group that you could never put the quote-unquote selfish player label on. Michael Jordan was the epitome of being a selfish player, but he needed to be for the Bulls to have been that successful. MJ was so great that it actually worked. Maybe the only player in league history that being selfish actually worked in their favor. Once Shaq left, Kobe got deep into his bag, making up for lost time where he wasn't the #1 option, because he started shooting that rock and scoring at an insane clip. If you were to Google the definition of selfish basketball player, you might actually see a picture of Kobe Bryant in an 8 jersey sitting right there. RIP to the Mamba, but it's not like I'm saying anything that hasn't been said before and anything that's not true. Eventually he realized that wasn't going to work. Kobe learned how to lead, and from there the rest is history. But as far as LeBron James goes, he couldn't be farther from being a selfish player. In fact, I remember guys like Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless actually getting on LeBron for passing the ball too much. For as great as a scorer as LeBron is, and it's crazy to even say this about the NBA's all-time leading scorer, but LeBron has always been a pass-first player. In the past, usually superstars didn't want to play with other superstars because that meant having to share the bulk of the scoring load. But that would all change once Bron would go on a team up with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh in Miami. He helped invent what we now know as the super team because other stars actually wanted to play with LeBron James. I say helped invent because LeBron gets a lot of the flack for supposedly being the one to start this super team era. Like, everybody seems to forget that 3 years prior, we saw Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, and Ray Allen team up for what was the original Big Three. Because they were all such different players towards the end of their primes and it worked out perfectly, nobody even thought of it that way. The term super team wasn't even being used yet. Before all this, you never even heard of a superstar trying to go play alongside a guy like Kobe Bryant. At least not until he proved to be a team player. He won those 2 rings and CP3 was on his way to becoming a Laker until David Stern shut that all down for reasons we still don't know. And although the super team era is coming to an end, it's the only thing we've seen since. So in a year where Bron was willing to take a huge pay cut and the Lakers were looking to add another star player, why couldn't they do it? Does it have to do more with LeBron James, or do guys around the league just not believe that the Lakers can be legit title contenders? For the last couple of years, you could tell that Klay's run in Golden State was coming to an end. And I was almost certain that at some point in their careers, we were going to see Klay Thompson pair up with LeBron James. Klay is a top 4 shooter of all time, a certified Hall of Famer, and in his prime, one of the best two-way players to ever play this game. If you could ask somebody to make the perfect teammate for LeBron James that he could have used at any stage of his career, it would be Klay Thompson. Because now more than ever does LeBron and the Lakers need a knockdown 3-point shooter, and Klay was right there on the market. So why couldn't they get Thompson, a guy who's from LA and dad played for the Lakers, to sign with them? It seemed like a walk in the park. I mean, even his own dad said that he was disappointed that Klay didn't sign with his former team. According to sources though, it had a lot to do with the California state income taxes. And you can't blame the guy. He's been playing in Cali his whole career and Uncle Sam has taken a good chunk of his career earnings. So why not go to Texas where you won't get taxed on any of the money you make? It has to be more than just that though. Thompson has made over $260 million in his whole career. I'm sure he's doing just fine in that area. Although LA might have been a better fit, and although Dallas already has a crowded backcourt, they are just coming off a finals appearance. Klay is not used to losing. He helped build that dynasty in Golden State. All he's been doing his whole career is winning. That's why I believe that the last couple of seasons have been so hard on him and everyone within the Warriors organization. And yes, adding Klay would be a huge piece for this Lakers team. But as their roster sits right now, they might not even make it out of the play-in tournament next year. Klay doesn't want that. Plus, if he goes to LA with the spotlight on them and Bron and he doesn't perform, it could be the nail in the coffin on a legendary career. But Klay wasn't the only big name free agent on the market. Paul George was a name that floated around very briefly, before quickly inking a deal with Philadelphia. The LA native had already been home for the last 5 seasons playing with the Clippers. And although the Lakers wouldn't have been the most ideal fit, the game of basketball is positionless now, so Bron and the Lakers would have found a way to make it work. Instead, he chose to go east and team up with Embiid and Maxey instead of LeBron and AD. At this point in his career, one of the only things missing for PG is a championship. Besides Boston, the East is down bad right now, and I believe that if Embiid never gets hurt this past season, they make a good run at an Eastern Conference title. So that's why it was a no-brainer for him. Go somewhere where he's almost guaranteed a deep playoff run. Or play for a Lakers team that's going to have to go through a gauntlet to even make the playoffs, let alone a finals appearance. That's another big reason as to why I believe the Lakers just aren't a hot spot for certain guys. The West is just too strong. Denver, Minnesota, Dallas, OKC are just 4 of the top teams that you have to go through, with 3 of them being legit championship contenders. The West is unbelievably deep right now, maybe the deepest it has ever been, and that's not changing anytime soon. These teams are young. Guys like SGA, Luka, and Ant are looking for their first ring. Not to mention teams that are just bound to get better, like San Antonio, Houston, and the Grizzlies with the return of Ja Morant. If I was PG looking for that ring, I would have went back east too. He knew the West was nothing to play with. Last on the list of the Lakers' big name free agents is Demar Derozan, a Los Angeles native who at 34 just got done averaging 24, 5, and 4 for the Bulls last season. Demar Derozan has only been telling us his whole career that he eventually wants to play back home, so I would be shocked if they couldn't get him to sign. Some reports are saying that the signing is all but done. Other reports are saying that the Miami Heat, another state with no income tax and a winning culture, could be a top destination. At the time of this recording, Woj just announced the Kings as the frontrunner to land DeRozan in a sign and trade with Chicago. I'm not gonna lie, if the Lakers miss out on signing DeRozan to the Kings, then they might as well have already started their rebuild. While on paper going to LA to play with LeBron and AD seems like a great idea, I think the reality of doing it for some guys is just less than ideal. Veteran stars want to win. It's the NBA, they've already made their money, they already got their stats. Now the only thing guys want to do is win championships, and right now the Lakers are far from that. So the next question is, where do they go from here?